Hey everybody, Thomas Vanderkin here from the VanderkinVerse. I'm super excited. I've got Eric Taylor on with me today. He's with Lenovo. He's a technical client advisor. Hey Eric, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Thomas. Happy to be here.
So we are going to talk today about smart collaboration. Well, what the heck is smart collaboration, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of people hear about this, but it's difficult to conceptualize it. So hopefully I can give some live demos here about exactly what the smart collaboration portfolio is. Without further ado, we'll dive right into exactly what we have within the smart collaboration portfolio. A lot of people are familiar with Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom rooms. All of the products that we offer are available in both of those flavors, if you will. We'll talk mostly about Microsoft Teams rooms today. We'll start off with basically the first product that was released in the smart collaboration family was the Lenovo Hub 500, which is what I'll show here. And we'll also talk about the follow-on product as well. But to help someone conceptualize what the Hub 500 is and what smart collaboration does, imagine this is a meeting room space. So these could be 65-inch, 75-inch, 85-inch, 98-inch displays at the front of the room. You could do a single display. You could do a dual display. I have a Logitech meetup camera attached to this device, so I have pan, tilt, zoom capabilities on the camera. I've got some speakers and microphones built in as well. But at the center of the show, the star of the show, if you will, is the compute. So this is a Windows 10 IoT device, basically the PC running down here, coupled with a touchscreen display. So the beauty of a Microsoft Teams room or a Zoom room is that ubiquitous experience and that centralized management, the ease of use. So we've all been there with a meeting space where you come in, you have to fumble with dongles, turn on a projector, get the screen going, log into the PC. Goodness gracious, if the patches run, it might be 10, 15, 20 minutes before you can start your meeting. That's no longer the case with Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom rooms, because you literally come in, and as you can see on the display here, I'll zoom in a little tighter so everyone can see this. On this display, I've invited this device to the meetings. So I have a Teams meeting here, but I also have the ability to guest join a Zoom meeting and a WebEx meeting as well. So those are the three big UC platforms that you can join: Teams, Zoom, WebEx, all within this single system. I could do a new meeting. I could access the dial pad, actually make a phone call from this device if I wanted to. I can get to more options. I could present directly from this device if I brought a laptop. But really the star of the show is, like I said, being able to just literally come into the meeting. You see, here's your meeting. I'm going to tap join. The meeting starts. The displays come on. I can see Eric is already in the meeting. I can see someone has actually started a whiteboarding session over here. I see the content on one screen. I see the video. It would be 3x3 video if we had more attendees. But I can see the attendees on the display. I could add participants from here. I could turn off the video if I didn't want people to see me. I could mute the audio if I didn't want the far party to hear me. Share content. I can even turn on live captions, which is really cool. So if you're having a hard time hearing or understanding someone, you can do annotated live captions within the stream as well. Raise my hand. I can switch the displays if I want to change where the content or the video is being displayed, and adjust the volume in the room. So super easy to do. And when I'm done with the meeting, I just hit the big red button and I'm out of the meeting and I'm back. And this room has returned back to its native state and it's ready for the next person to come in.
So let me ask you a couple questions. A lot just happened right there, and I want to make sure that I understand what just happened. Because so what we're simulating here is a medium-sized conference room. In most corporate locations, we have them. There's maybe 10 chairs, I guess. In the front of the room, there's two big screens, and then that's in the middle of the conference table sits that Lenovo Hub 500. Is that kind of what we have here?
Exactly right. Okay. And what I've shown here too is like a kind of an expanded room where you have the add-on pan tilt zoom camera, the add-on speakers. But one of the beauties of the Lenovo Hub 500 and the subsequent unit, which we'll talk about here in a sec, is Basically, this is the only certified Microsoft Teams and Zoom all in one unit. So you can see I'm spinning the display, which is great for you put it in the middle of the table, people come in, and you don't have to stand up, you don't have to start the meeting. It doesn't matter who's sitting where. You just spin this around, you find the meeting you want, you tap join. During the meeting, you can spin it around 360 degrees, you can mute, you can do the controls. It's all right there on top of the table. In addition,
okay. So usually when I go into one of these conference rooms, there's probably just one big TV on the wall, and then so it'd just be like, and then just this Hub 500 in the table, in the middle of the table, right?
Right. And the Hub 500 does have microphones built into the top of the touch panel. There's also speakers are built into the column. So this is basically a ready to go huddle space. All you have to do is add a display and a camera to this device to be able to use it as a fully functioning room. But the glory of it is, and we'll talk about it here in just a sec, this is, like I said, the brains of the operation, the star of the show. You can work with a systems integrator to add professional grade components to expand a room out from 4 people, maybe even up to 100, 200 people, because you can connect this to any Teams certified or Zoom certified device and expand it out. Put microphones in the ceiling, high quality pan tilt zoom cameras at the front, the camera at the front of the room to capture content, and really scale this out to very large meeting spaces. But the key is that single one-touch join to activate the room. And if someone invites you to a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting, just to show it's not smoke and mirrors, I'm going to tap on the WebEx meeting. I tap join, you kind of see that WebEx teal that everyone's accustomed to. It says connecting to WebEx, so it's going out and doing a guest join into the WebEx meeting. You see the WebEx sort of UI there. You heard the WebEx, and I'm in the meeting. So the WebEx meeting is there. You have all of your controls for the meeting on the touch panel. I can leave this, start my next meeting, which might be a Zoom meeting. Tap on Zoom, see it connecting to Zoom, doing that guest join into Zoom with that cloud video interop on the back end, and you're dropped right into your Zoom meeting. There we go.
So, so what was you did what one? The first one was a Teams meeting, and then what were the other two?
Teams, WebEx, and Zoom are what are available today. Mm-hmm.
So I travel a lot, right? As a traveling field sales rep for Lenovo. Walk into conference rooms all over. Usually I get there 15 minutes early because I'm paranoid. Nobody comes down to pick me up until 2 minutes before the meeting. I get ushered into the meeting. I'm texting people on my phone who are all waiting to join the call because the meeting hasn't started yet. We're saying introductions in the room while I'm fiddling away with a device I don't understand how to get connected. Can you tell me how this solves that problem? And then also and when I walk in, I've got a laptop with content on it that I may want to share also. So how I solve that problem?
Right. So for the first part, the problem is solved by just literally being able to do back-to-back meetings, not having to get the room reconfigured to get the devices back to a native state, waiting to join, getting people logged in. Like I said, you literally just come in and you just join the meeting. If you have content on your laptop that you want to share with individuals within the room, this is my my ThinkPad T95S, fantastic device. I mean, all of my content's on here and I want to share it with people in the room. There's an HDMI ingest on the back of the Hub device. You just take this HDMI, you plug it into your HDMI port or a dongle if you require dongles to display that content onto the main screen.
That works slick. So the content is either somebody on the meeting could be sharing it to the screen through the WebEx or through the Teams meeting, but or if you're the presenter in the conference room, you just plug in your laptop and it automatically joins the meeting that way.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
So one more question. I know I'm being a little.
That's great. Those are good questions.
I haven't had this problem solved yet, but how do I get that thing, my meeting to show up in the list when I come running into this room 2 minutes before it starts? How do they know that I'm having a meeting and that my meeting, which is on Teams, is supposed to be on their list in my customer's conference room?
Right. So the customer would have to invite this meeting to to the meeting. You kind of treat this like a person, right? There's an account associated with this, which we'll talk about here in a second, in the admin console. But you assign basically a resource account to this, almost a person, if you will, and you invite this device to the meeting like it's a person. So if you come into the meeting, you're like, hey, we need to invite this room. You have someone invite Eric Taylor, Hub 500, to the meeting. Your meeting shows up in the calendar, and you just tap and join.
Or they could tell me ahead of time, add this to reserve the room, add Eric Taylor Hub 500 to reserve the room, and then the meeting will automatically show up there.
Right. Here's the address of the room we're going to use. You just add it to the invite like any other email address, and it works.
And then it'll automatically show up in that list. And then when I walk in the room, I just have to hit join.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
That's pretty slick.
It really is.
Yeah.
And now the Hub 500 has been around since late 2017. So it's still a fully functional device, has many more years of service on it. It's dedicated to running Microsoft Teams rooms or Zoom rooms. So it kind of functions in a kiosk mode where it runs a single application. For that reason, it doesn't need a whole lot of horsepower. But at the same time, Lenovo took a lot of feedback from its user community and improved it into the next generation of the Hub. So I want to show that here. I don't have it plugged up because it's a lot more exciting to kind of see it in person, if you will. So this is the new Hub. Just received Microsoft certification. It has just reached ship support with Lenovo. You can purchase this now. Still has the same type of arrangement. It's an all-in-one unit. Has a 10.1-inch touch display, higher quality on top. One of the big improvements that has been done here is you now have 4 microphones across the top. Very sensitive microphones. I think the pickup range is about 23 feet. In addition, there's a greatly improved speaker column on the bottom, or on the column here. There are 4 3-watt speakers for almost 100 decibels of sound. So, this thing really puts out some audio. So it's a fantastic all-in-one unit. For you IT decision makers, you IT professionals, integrators out there, we heard some of the feedback that the big power button on front of the Hub 500, when people are using the room and maybe they have issues, their first instinct is to reboot this device. So that big shiny power button maybe was a little too attractive on the back. So the new power button is basically this little tiny button there, something you kind of have to push with a paper clip to do a hard reboot on this. Some of the biggest feedback we heard, though, was the accessibility of the HDMI ports and the USB ports on the back of the Hub 500. You could flip up this little door on the back and get to all the ports, which is great for install and accessibility, but as far as like a room staying online and people not touching those connections, that can be problematic. Somebody comes in, unplugs your cables, and your room is offline. Maybe they don't put it back and the room stays offline. So for that reason, we created the one cable. So this is a single ubiquitous cable. Yeah, it looks like a lot. There's a great reason for this. It's this single one cable that plugs into the back of the Hub like so, and it hides all of your connections. You can actually lock this like with a Kensington lock so people can't get to these connections, because as an IT guy, you don't want people unplugging your stuff. You want these things are designed to stay on, to get updates from Microsoft on a regular basis. So you don't want them to go offline. You want them to always be available. So this one cable goes right into the back of the Hub. And the way you access the connections for this device are here. So this is a 6-foot woven cable that will go through a grommet on the table for a nice clean install. It's a very clean, good looking install in the room. And then under the table, you have this, what I like to call kind of like Legos. So all of your connections are here. They slide together into this block that goes into a box that clamps shut. You can cable tie, you can lock it so people can't access the USB, the RJ45, the HDMI connections on this device. So you keep them hidden, and then you can extend those out for any size room that you need. But this stuff stays away from prying hands. And you still have the HDMI ingest to be able to do that content sharing within the room. But as far as your standard native cables go, all of that is tucked away. It's neat on top of the table and tucked away on the bottom.
Looks like some heavy engineering went into that cable.
Yes, that heavy engineering went into the entire device. I won't do it here for you, Thomas, because I might get in trouble when people see it. But there are, I believe, 6 newtons of pull force is required for certification by Microsoft. But I literally plugged this up on a demo and started shaking it and could not get the cable to come loose.
Okay.
It finally did after I really gave it some force and it hit the ground. Booted right back up though, I promise. Durable
I
unit.
wish I would have captured that. I've been famous on TikTok if I would have got that drop on the ground.
Maybe later we'll blur my face. So that's the Hub 500. That is the new Hub. It's just called the Hub. That's the new generation for kind of size comparison. You know, it's basically like a stack of a little larger than a stack of CDs, if you will, if anybody remembers CDs. So it's a compact unit, very high quality audio, high quality, just one touch display. But basically you can do all the same things with it as you've seen over here, connect it to an external monitor or monitors, and add cameras to it, speakers to it, scale it out to a larger room.
Love it.
So in that same vein, talk about to help conceptualize like the larger room. Let's talk about what we can do in that space. So I'll switch over here to another view. And what I have here is a 65-inch Avicord. This is a touchscreen, 10 points of touch. I have it integrated here with the Logitech Rally system. So this is, and I'll zoom in on the components so folks can kind of see that. So this is
are you in Lenovo's office or is this your home office?
This is my home office. This is the number one requirement for these things is to have a very patient spouse and children that know not to touch things.
Wow.
So Avicord 65-inch display coupled with a Logitech tap unit. So think of this kind of as an exploded version. It's not an all-in-one version. The components are sort of broken out. This is the Logitech tap unit, which is the touch display, which connects to a tabletop hub. This would kind of hide up under the table in the room. Goes over to a hub that lives behind the display of the room. And all of this is powered by the ThinkSmart Edition Tiny. So this is our Tiny PC, and I'll pull this up. This is actually my Zoom unit. I have the Microsoft Teams room unit attached here, but give everybody a glance at this. Again, about the size of a stack of CDs. You've got your Wi-Fi antenna here. This is based on our M920Q desktop, but it is dedicated to running either Microsoft Teams rooms or Zoom rooms. But this is, again, this is the brains of the operation. Everything else is just peripherals for this setup. But this gives you an idea of how you can really scale a room out. You could use the Hub or the new Hub or the Hub 500 to do just this, but this is just flexibility for options. And you can swap it out. I could literally make this a Zoom room by swapping out the PC.
So the Hub has basically the PC on the bottom, the speaker in the column in the middle, and then a display and microphones on top. Here you've broken out the PC, the speakers, the microphones, and the tab display, everything in separate devices.
Exactly. And so, in same functionality, you come into the room, you can wall mount the Logitech tap maybe up onto the wall, like as you enter the door. You could put it in the middle of the table. That's kind of the beauty of the tap system, is you can put this device everywhere. But it's the same experience. I literally come in, I tap join. You see the pan tilt zoom camera came online. Everything is up and running. I'm in my team's room.
It looks a little bit more complicated. Why would somebody pick this solution over the Hub that has it all built in?
Right. It does. But you have to consider too that like you would have potentially like a professional systems integrator come into this room, and all of these cables that you see would be under the table, run through conduit and neatly tucked up behind display. So it's a good clean display, but it gives you more functionality. Like you have high quality, like much larger speakers here. So these are the Logitech Rally speakers. You can do 1, you can do 2 for some much richer audio. There is a high quality microphone array here. You can also daisy chain up to 7 of these for a much larger room. And you've got a little remote here if you want to control the camera as well. But it also does people tracking, so it will automatically frame people. It will do speaker tracking. It'll find the active speaker in the room and frame them up. And one of the really cool things as well is I mentioned that this is an Avacor display. This is a 10-point touch display. So I joined this Microsoft Teams meeting, and someone's already started a whiteboarding session, as evidenced by this large whiteboard. So I can see somebody is doing whiteboarding. I can come in here and say, hey, I want to participate. Tap on that red pin there.
Oh my gosh.
And boom, you've got a virtual whiteboard that's saved into the Teams meeting after you finish this. Do a little bit of erasing there.
And everybody in the meeting can see what you're drawing in the conference room.
Absolutely. So I can demonstrate that real quick. So someone has initiated the session here. It just says whiteboard.
Yeah.
So in my room system, I come over here and write red, green, and you see red, green show up because it's all in the cloud. That's the power of Office 365 or Zoom.
Slick.
Yeah. So that is the ThinkSmart Edition Tiny that powers the peripherals or the Logitech Zoom or the Logitech Rally system coupled with an Avacor 65-inch display. But this is just a concept. Again, you can have displays, you can have massive speakers and microphone arrays throughout your room and scale all of this to any size room basically. But really the power of this compute is the ThinkSmart Edition Tiny or the Hub device. And the beauty of Lenovo, if I may, having been part of an organization that deployed almost 800 of these devices globally, the key there is globally. So every ThinkSmart device comes with a 3-year Premier support. So you have that one number to call to get support on this device. Global availability. So this model or the Hub model that you see here would be available to basically any country in the world. So if you're an IT shop, you're developing your global standards for your meeting rooms, you can get these same devices basically anywhere on the planet. So that's a real big strength when you're trying to standardize.
So let me ask you a question. So as I mentioned, I do some traveling. I go to a lot of customer meeting rooms. I feel like when I travel, I see a bit of a museum of conference room devices that over the last 10 years that customers have purchased to try and solve this problem. Do you feel like it's maturing enough that this is going to be a solution going forward, or have we learned enough during COVID that we kind of know what works now and we can invest with confidence in building out our conference rooms to support video that's kind of become standard now and expected?
Absolutely. So we've been deploying these, like I said, since late 2017, the Zoom room space, the Microsoft Teams room space, and we've seen a massive maturement in the unified communications and collaboration space, and the meeting room space is really following suit. Microsoft, Zoom, Cisco, they're all pouring a lot of resources into the functionality of this space as well. So we're seeing the features come on the platform side. We're seeing more robust hardware come on the hardware side, and we're seeing a lot of players, hardware manufacturers entering this space. So it really tells us that Lenovo is doing the right thing, and other organizations are as well, because people want to do this. We see people moving to work from home, but some people will still be in the office. So that's going to drive the requirement for video collaboration even more than previously, I think. So having said that, we talk a lot about the meeting rooms. We talked about the Hub. We talked about the Tiny. We talked about these large displays, these grandiose microphones, speakers, things of that nature. But what about the desktop? So I'm in my home right now. Thomas, you're in your home. So what about, we're tied to Teams all day. We're tied to Zoom all day. What can we do to offload some of that workload, the resource hogs that are UC platforms? Companion devices or something cool. A lot of people have Alexa, Google Home, Apple Home Pods, things of that nature. I'm really excited to talk about the ThinkSmart View. So this is this little tiny guy that sits on your desk, and it can actually, just announced at Zoomtopia last week, is the Zoom flavor of this device. So this is a very small 8-inch tablet type device. You can see there's The only connection to this is a single AC adapter. There's no RJ45 network connection. There are no USB ports, and that's purpose built. This is supposed to be a simple device that you can come log into either your Zoom account or your Microsoft Teams account and use this for personal collaboration. Microsoft is launching Teams Display this week, which is what you see here. I'll talk specifically about this because this is a production ready device. The Zoom device is coming very soon in the next couple of months. But with this, you come in, somebody's not in their office or at home. My kids love this. They actually like to leave a note. So this is kind of like a virtual post-it note, if you will. You can leave an audio message, a video message, or a text message directly on this device, which is kind of fun. The kids love to leave that for dad when he comes up to his office. You don't have to fish around for a pen or a post-it any longer. That's all digital. This works with Better Together, so it will pair with your Teams client running on your PC. So if you lock your PC, it will lock the ThinkSmart View. If you unlock it, it'll unlock the view. When you unlock it, you're granted with this home screen. Basically, this is my activity stream here. I can still use this as a desk phone replacement, if you will. Pair this with Bluetooth headset. I've got my dial pad there. I can do things like view my contacts, get my voicemail, see my calendar. So whatever meetings I have arranged, I can see that here as well. I can engage in chats directly from this device. So I have a chat going here with my buddy Richard LeBennett. I can go into, if I have files within OneDrive within Office 365, I can actually go in and view the content of those files within OneDrive as well. Unfortunately, it takes a sec to load, but in the interest of time, we'll close that out.
Okay.
And you can also go in and participate directly in the Teams channels that you're a member of. So I can go in here into General and make a new post or reply to existing posts with the keyboard directly on the screen. And now that's pretty, I've done a lot of touching with this device, and sometimes people don't want to touch a device, so voice interaction is really big too. So the thing I've really come to appreciate about this device is I have a large monitor in front of me, but I leave the ThinkSmart View running, and I do things like, hey Cortana, send a message to Richard LeBennett. Tell him not to panic, this is a test.
Who did you want to message?
Richard LeBennett.
Sorry, who did you want to message?
Oh, sorry, live demo. But I can do things like, hey Cortana, join my next meeting. Hey Cortana, join my next meeting.
All right, ready to join your 9 p.m.?
Yes, join it. There you go. So I'm in my meeting. I can start my video. I can start my audio, and I'm there.
Yeah.
And I apologize.
So
the text message didn't work, but I do use that frequently.
Sorry. So Eric, yeah, I was actually given one of these to demo and show with my customers, and what I found is it's so easy to use. My calendar is up all the time, so if I want to join a meeting, it's there. The audio is great. I think it's better than my kind of Bluetooth speaker that I generally use. But also, it was so quick to set up. When I got this thing, I opened it up, I entered my credentials, and I had this thing up and running. I think I did a video of it even in 8 minutes, all the way from unboxing it to starting a meeting on this thing. It joined so fast. And now, just because it only plugs in with one cable, if I want to go sit on the porch and join a Teams meeting, I can just grab this thing, take it down, sit in the porch. Don't have to worry about a laptop or anything. So it's just once you get it, you're surprised at the ways you're going to use it. I think whether it's going to be in the office to replace, a phone that I used to have sitting on my desk, or with headphones, or just as a speakerphone, or at home to travel around with it. So I'm surprised at the new ways that I've discovered how to use this device.
Right. And to touch on that portability part, you talk about going out on your porch. I did the same thing. So the family went on vacation. Well, the family was on vacation. I was not, unfortunately, and had to work from a condo. And on a whim, I packed up my ThinkPad, threw it in my backpack, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to be working from 14-inch display for a couple of days. That could be kind of painful, right? So on a whim, I literally just unplugged this guy, crammed it in my backpack with my ThinkPad, and it was a fantastic companion device to be able to do all that team stuff directly from here and free up that screen real estate and those resources on my laptop for other things. So Yeah, that was a big win for me, and that's when it really resonated the value of this device.
And it looks like you're adding a lot of new functionality, because everything you just showed, I don't have on the one I have, here in my house. So I'm looking forward to the updates rolling out.
Right, and that's all Microsoft and Zoom driven. That's the power of the cloud. So everything we talked about on the Teams rooms and the Zoom room and the ThinkSmart View, all powered by Microsoft and Zoom. These are regular updates. New features and functionality come to these devices every day. So this video in 6 months is probably going to be far outdated, and they're going to be fresh new features. But the idea is there, right? The concept of what Lenovo Smart Collaboration, what the portfolio can do for you is there. So I know we've been talking a lot about the hardware. We'd be remiss, though, if we didn't talk a little bit about the software, the platforms beneath. So we talked about these room systems and how you have this ubiquitous experience, this centralized management. So if I may just take a quick sec to talk about what that centralized management looks like for folks on the IT side of things who might be viewing this.
Yeah.
So you got the, I guess you can see my screen, right,
yeah.
Tom?
Yeah.
Cool. So all it go to Office 365, office.com, log in. If you're an administrator, you have an admin tab here. That's going to take you to your admin console within Office 365. From that admin console, you would be interested in clicking on the Teams tab. If you're a Teams admin, that's going to take you to the Teams Admin Center. Specifically of interest to us right now are IP phones. So that's what the ThinkSmart View is classified as, soon to be called a Teams display device. But we're on
That's the little one. That's the little one, is the IP phone, you're saying, right?
Right now it's shipping with IP phone, but will be upgraded to Teams display automatically on the 23rd of October.
Okay.
But all of these devices show up in the Teams admin console. So you can see the health of these devices. You can also dive in. We'll go into the Hub 500. It's unhealthy. Let's see maybe why that is. So I can go in, I can view the peripherals of these devices. Let's go into health here. So my content camera, the camera that you can point toward a whiteboard and do virtual whiteboarding on a physical whiteboard, I've unplugged that. Someone has come into my room and unplugged that device, and I can see it's disconnected, and I need to actually go and remediate that issue. But it's great because I can see this. If I'm a geographically dispersed organization, I could see all of my rooms and triage these things before someone even reports it to our service desk, right? I can also go and look at the connectivity health, see the network is connected, it's signed into the accounts. I can see the software versions of these devices as well. You can also go into activity and see what sort of meetings have happened on this device. You can see the number of participants. You can even drill down and get some call logs. So if someone complains of a quality issue with the room, you can go in, get a time and date for that call, dig in and really see, okay, was it our room or was it the far party that was having an issue with maybe latency, et cetera?
Okay. So just so I'm tracking what's going on here, this is not something an end user would ever look at, right? This is like if you're an IT administrator with hundreds of these devices in your environment, your administrator would be checking this out on a regular basis, making sure you can see all your hubs and smart views and if they're in good shape or any issues with them. Is that right?
Absolutely. But it's worth the users knowing that if they mess up something, IT can see it and they can triage and correct it quickly.
Okay.
That's not an indication to mess up rooms, though.
Most of us never get to see the administrative tool, so this is all kind of standard IT Microsoft stuff that any IT administrator would be used to that uses Microsoft. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
And one of the beautiful things too about Lenovo, we talked about that 3-year premier support, that global availability, but all ThinkSmart devices come with the ability to enroll in ThinkSmart Manager, which is a hosted software as a solution. It's a hosted service that you can out of the box enroll those ThinkSmart devices into. So here again, we have the Hub 500. I see that it's online, but Microsoft is more focused on the platform side of things, the software side of things. Lenovo, of course, is a hardware company, so we have a strong focus on the hardware. So within ThinkSmart Manager, you can do a lot of the same things. You can see the peripherals that are connected, the software versions, but you can even go a little bit deeper. And you can determine what account is logged into this device. You can set the modes, restart the device, set single or dual displays, go into the network, specify, add certificates, DHCP, static IPs, work groups, domains, a pack file for network connectivity. You can look at the hardware. You could physically turn off, or I guess make sure that audio cannot be used in the room. Why you want that, I don't know. But secure locations where you can't have video in these rooms, you can literally disable cameras being plugged into this device. You can disable USB storage devices from a security standpoint. You can block those devices from actually working on the ThinkSmart devices. And you can block USB hubs altogether. Set time zones, go into Windows, set the admin password, enable remote desktop. A lot of that is, or all of this is available right here within ThinkSmart Manager. So you have a dashboard for your issues, and you're able to come in, and the first thing in the morning, maybe you can come in and see all of your devices, see what issues you might have in your environment, and go correct those and make sure your rooms stay online. And again, here's the Zoom Rooms console. You can do all of those things within Zoom as well. But that's generally the concept, Thomas, is the easy to use room, the always on room, the centrally managed room. So your customers are happy, your employees are happy, your IT organization is happy, and your life is just a lot better, and your meeting rooms are a lot more reliable and usable. And all of that's possible with the ThinkSmart, Lenovo ThinkSmart Collaboration platform.
And I guess another advantage being Lenovo, the biggest PC manufacturer in the world, is that we know how to make these products durable, ship them around the world, and then have a support structure we can use, to make sure that if there are any issues, we have a warranty process, I guess, right, to take care of them.
Correct. You're really pressing me to drop this thing and prove it, aren't you?
Yeah, you have warranty from your support on that, right? So
that's right. It's got 3-year premier support. I can get it fixed or get a replacement.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this review. I think you did a great job, and I certainly learned a lot about the Lenovo Smart Collaboration products. Before I finish these discussions, I always like to ask, is there anything new, anything cool, anything else you want to cover, anything we missed, anything you want to finish up with?
So what I can speak to is we also have a Google Meet option that's available. It is called the Google Series 1. It's a collaboration between Google and Lenovo. We manufactured the hardware. Google, they specified the platform. Yeah, I'm told it's fantastic. I don't have one yet, but there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of buzz and interest about it. It's available now. Hopefully I can come back, Thomas, when I have a unit, and we can go through maybe the hardware. We can see it work, maybe go into the admin console for it as well. But there's a lot on the horizon. Unified communications and collaboration and meeting room collaborations is a hot item now for obvious reasons, and will continue to be because the world has changed, and there's definitely a demand there, and Lenovo's there to fulfill it.
Awesome. Well, again, great job. I'm looking forward to learning more, and definitely have you back on once you get the Google Meet solution set up in your office. So awesome. Thank you, Eric. Really appreciate it. It's been great. Thanks.
All right. Bye now.